All right, the first thing you want to do is make sure the hair is combed all back. And what I'm showing you here is that the comb, when you do your first section, really isn't going to go past where the crown area is. So I'm using my perm rod as my guide, and that's where the hair should be. You'll see these little dots inside of the edge of the perm rod. When you're rolling the hair, that's where the hair should be. But the outer length of the rod is what I'm using to determine how wide my sections will be. You don't want hair to go past that because it makes it more difficult to roll when you're pulling hair from the outer parts to get on the rod, and that hair will not curl like the hair that's inside the rod. So I'm doing my first section in the middle. And please remember this. This is just one way on how to section for a perm. It is not the only way. There are so many ways people go about doing their sections. Now, here's another thing before I forget. The amount of sections, and this is for a basic permanent wave, that you're going to do depends on the size of the head. So usually it's 8 or 9 sections. Some people teach it different, and that's fine. But how would you determine if you're going to do 9 sections? If the head is a little bit larger, then you do 9. Okay, now I'm going to put the length of my rod on the side. And that will tell you where your first section is going to be. Or I should say where your middle section is going to end. Just turn your rod there on the side, and the length of the rod there is where you'll put your dividing line to do that first section. Now back to what I was saying. It would be 8 sections if the head is a little bit more petite, 9 sections if the hair is a little, head is a little larger. So now I have my first section down. You always want to make sure, especially while you're in school, that your sections are as neat as they can be. You don't want the ends flopping out of the clip because that will count against you when you go for your licensing exam at State Board. So you see I'm just twisting all the hair up and then clipping it down as neat as I can. And that's that. So now I'm going to move on to my side sections, and that is a little bit harder to try to get on camera. It's a little tricky here. But I'm going to use the length of my rod there, and right behind there I'm going to slightly curve, and you feel the teeth of the comb hitting the edge of the ear there, and there you have it. That's your side section. And so when you're finished with all of your sections, that's when you'll double check yourself. And if the section goes past your perm rod, then you know it's too wide. If it goes inside of the length of your perm rod, then you know it's too narrow, because you can also have sections that are too little as well. I'm going to make sure all those ends are twisted in. And the reason why I have her on the chair, I forgot to tell you guys this, my tripod is broken. So now I have to wait for a new tripod to come in, but I've been saying that I was going to do a sections video, so here it is. So now I'm working my way to the other side. And I just kind of want you guys to see that slight curve that you will have when you're around the ear when you do the sides. So you're not just parting that line straight down. Okay, so now we're going to start in the back behind the middle section. And I'm still using the length of my rod to get that line in the back. Now, again, I'm just telling you, this is how I go about doing my 9 sections. This is how I've taught it for years. That doesn't mean that it's the only way. It is one way to go about getting your 8 or 9 sections. So I'm just going to move this hair out of my way here, making sure my line is as straight as I can get it. And it's really following down the curve of the head. So I have that side separated for now, and then I'm going to work on my line, my parting, I should say, coming down on the other side. And I'm just going to come down the curve of the head. So once I have this line, I'm going to separate that hair out of my way so I can focus on splitting the middle section here. Now this second middle section behind the top middle section, remember it's always going to end up being your largest section. So I'm going to separate it just right there in the occipital area because I don't want those back sections to be too little, but I don't want them to be too big. So just remember where her head is curving and about to curve in. That's in the occipital area. And remember, your mannequins don't really have that. They just kind of have that curves. Not too many mannequins, I'll say, that have an occipital bone, but you'll kind of know that area. And now I'm going to split that across and get my second section in the middle range. So now I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sections. And I'm making sure those ends are all the way in. And then I'm going to go over to this side and part it straight across. And now I'm going to have my 6th section there. Combing that, getting my ends in. It was a little difficult working with this chair, but like I said, I had to get this video out because I've been saying that I would, so I wanted to get that done. Now I have my bottom 3 sections left, or 2. Remember, it's dependent upon the size of the head. So I'm going to show you 3 more sections, and then I'll show you how it would look if it was 2 sections in the back. Just going to follow those lines right there. And you'll kind of get an idea if you look when I get done with these 3 sections. They're very tiny. So when they're really tiny like that, you know that her or his head is a little more petite. So you could use 8 sections instead of 9. And today was just a challenging day. I don't know what was going on. That Twilight Zone just felt like showing up like 10 times stronger today. So, but I made it work. And here we have it. And there you go. You have your 9 sections. And that's how it would look, right? So now I'm going to show you how, okay, now I'm checking the sections. Now you see how those sections go within the range of my perm rod. They're not too large and they're not too small. They fit just right. Now I'm going to check the front sides. And it is the length of the rod there. If it was a little bit wider, it'd be too wide. Now I'm showing you the front center section. And then I'm going to check my other side. And everything seems to be all right. So now I'm taking out the bottom 3. And I'm going to show you what it looks like when it's just 2 in the back, which would be 8 sections. I'm just going to split it down the middle. Twist those up. Clip them up as neat as you can. And there you have it. You have your 8 sections for a more petite head. And I really hope that helped you guys. I'm going to check the back sections. Make sure they're not too wide. And it looks good. Fix that clip there. And there you have it, guys. You have your 8 or 9 sections for a basic permanent wave. Thank you guys for watching. God bless you. Bye, guys. Get in here, you wild buck.